This has been a good day for me. I woke up this morning and I saw my popcorn removal video that I have from my former business that I used to have in Orlando when I sprayed drywall texture, basically spray drywall texture and remove popcorn ceilings. Finally got over 100,000 views, so that's a first for me. I'm really excited about that. You can check that out. I have a link to that for my YouTube channel. My place is still kind of messy, but I'm going out for work today, so I might be gone a couple days. I also have to pack soon because I'll be leaving for Paso Robles, California. And while I'm there, I'll be training. So training is fun because we get to do lots of good stuff at work, and we get paid more with more training that we have. I got to get a haircut because, I'm bald on top of my head, and this is getting kind of long. Unless I feel like doing the Krusty the Clown thing for Halloween, which I've thought about doing. It's time for a haircut. As you can see, this it's great for gripping if you really want to yank on my hair real hard and just do mean stuff to me. That's what they do at work sometimes. So they just do that and they toss me around. So I want to prevent that from happening. This is the mess. This is just one of the rooms. I showed you the other room, and well, that's messy too, and it's never good to come back to a dirty house. It just kind of gets annoying. I guess I'm turning into my father. I never thought I would, but after a while it just gets old coming into a house and it's just downright messy. Yesterday was a good day. It was President's Day. I went out, I bought some really cool things for my head, and I'm sure you're thinking, what can I get for my head? That's really cool. Well, I got myself some hats, and the cool thing about these hats are, I don't have a normal size head. You can see right there, it says 6.5 kids, and this fits nice and perfect right on my head. Fits like a glove. I am from Baltimore, so I had to get an Orioles hat, and that's fitted too. But the reason I got the Boston hat is, they had a player basically that went to my high school who won 2 World Series, played in the Baseball World Championships, the Little League World Series, and the College World Series. The only player in the major leagues to do that was Jason Varitek. I didn't go to school with him, but I was in school with his brother, so that was a very cool thing. Not many people can say that. We've had a couple of major league players come out of my high school. Felipe Lopez is one of them. You've got currently Ricky Weeks and Jamal Weeks, and I think one other guy, he's a pitcher right now playing, so that's really cool. I was also in school with D. Brown, who played in the NFL for a little bit, and a silver medalist in the gymnastics for the Olympics, and that was Mahini Bordwaj. I don't know how many people can say that they've sat next to an Olympic champion and an NFL player within 1 year in high school that were literally right next to them in each class. So those are my little high school stories. Look up my high school sometime, Lake Brantley High School. It's kind of like a weird list of famous people that have come out of there, let alone just Orlando. So check that out. When I went there, it was a great school. We were well within number 100 high school in the nation. They've dropped a little bit, but I'm sure they'll get back up there soon. I actually started doing another model. It's an F-14 Tomcat A, and it's just a lot of fun doing. Here it is right here. One of the cool things about this is I decided to put these lines on there because I was told that if you do that and you paint it white, it kind of makes it look kind of old. So I started doing that. Oh, another thing that I have in my hat collection since I moved up to PA, coming from Orlando, we had a hockey team which was in Tampa, the Lightning. Never claimed them. I never claimed the Panthers because to me they were just really far away. Up here we have the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I went out and I bought a jersey. I have a Marc-Andre Fleury jersey. I went to one game. Penguins got their butts whipped in that game. I was really pissed. They played like pure crap. They lost 4-1. This was at the beginning of the season. I had to tolerate people behind me saying, "Oh, they're flat this year. They're flat this year. I don't know. They're not good at home this year." They played this many games at home, 2 games already, and they're like, "Oh, they're not good at home." Fans here, they're just ruthless. If you're like losing with like 2 games, it's like, "Oh, we're going to have a crappy season." They don't give them time for anything. Steeler fans, let me tell you something. They can get kind of crazy. I walk around with the Ravens jersey not a jersey, but a jacket, because I am from Baltimore, so I can have that right to do that. A funny thing happened actually it wasn't yesterday, it was a couple days ago. I was in the Steelers store. I was going to try and find a hat. As you know, you've seen my hat size. It's really small. It's 6.5. I can't find fitted hats that I like, that fit my head, that don't look too outrageously big. I like a hat to fit. I don't like to look like how the kids look nowadays, where their hats are just turned sideways. They look too gigantic and they leave the tags on them. I'll take all that stuff off. So I finally find a hat. While I was in the store looking, I had my Ravens jacket on, and the people there are saying, "Oh, aren't you looking at the wrong team?" And I got a good joke, and I said, "Yeah, I guess I'm looking at the losers' hats right now, because it's a Pittsburgh store and they had nothing but Steelers stuff and Penguins." They kind of didn't like that, and they just all went, "Ooh." Needless to say, I still got a hat. It cost me about $25, but I had to do it. I'm in Pittsburgh now. Everybody here, they watch the Steelers. They die Steelers. I don't know what the point in would be paying to go see the Steelers play, because the way the field is designed, you can just sit right out front of the stadium and see the whole field. So you can either pay a bunch of money to go inside the stadium, or you can sit outside the stadium and see everything. Same thing with a rock concert. You could go outside the stadium, and I'm pretty sure you can still see the band play, regardless of where you are. Or you could pay $50 for a ticket. Now, the cool thing about the stadium is it's right by the Science Center, so sometimes you can walk to the Science Center. Except on games. The Science Center is always closed on game days, which never make the mistake of going down to Pittsburgh and going to the Science Center on a game day, because it's going to be closed and you will have wasted your time going. There is a lot of stuff to do in Pittsburgh. I just went to their Pittsburgh History Museum. They have some really cool stuff there. They got a stainless steel car that was built by Ford, and they had 3 models that were actually stainless steel, but they never produced them. I'm not sure why, but they looked pretty good, and they should have just gone through with it. Stainless steel, I guess maybe because it's kind of heavy. And my day, I'm going to be going off to work today for a couple days probably. I have some stuff to do in a town that's about 20 miles from here, which isn't too terribly far. I guess in Pittsburgh, the terrain isn't that great, and it's always small little cities, so you can really only go like 35 miles an hour through everywhere. So wherever you're going, it just takes a long time to get to certain places. Even to get to the interstate takes me about 30 minutes, and it's only about 10 miles away. So it can be quite a pain, and then when it snows, you have a lot of hills and a lot of curves. You go through breaks, you have your emissions tests, which you have to get done, and that's just one thing I really can't stand right now, but I do it because I have to. You can't get around it. They won't let you drive. They'll give you a ticket. Some neat things about Pittsburgh, in theory. In Pennsylvania, rather, you can't get a speeding ticket, or at least by radar, unless it's by a state officer. If it's anywhere else, they have to use a timing device to get you, and you always see lines on the road. Basically, it boils down to this, is if you're going under 55 miles per hour, you could go 10 miles per hour over the speed limit and get away with it. In fact, you could go as fast as you want to and never get a ticket. You might get reckless driving if you're going too fast, but unless you're caught in between those two white lines, there really isn't anything a cop can do to you except say, you're either recklessly driving or you fail to obey a traffic control device, which I don't think has points at all. It's just like an $80 ticket. So try and remember that sometimes. It kind of comes in handy. Speed limits, they drop real fast and then they'll increase real fast, so you got to be careful of that. But like I said, you can get away with going 10 miles per hour over unless you're on the interstates. And a lot of times I don't see a lot of officers on the interstate. Every now and then they will hang out there. So that's just a little neat bit of tidbits that you might want to know if you're ever in the Pittsburgh area. Go see a ball game. They got 3 sports teams here. They don't have basketball, which is kind of shocking. Everything in Pittsburgh is named after Heinz or Andrew Carnegie, one of the two, and everything is sponsored by them. As well, there's a lot of history in this town. Everything has to do with basically the industrial era. A lot of historical stuff with that. It's a neat little city to visit. It's kind of neat living here. It's different from Orlando, which is all flat ground and terrain. So one day when everyone has a chance, I say come over to Pittsburgh, check it out, and enjoy it. Working on my clothing line as well. Gives me something to do. It's called Run Wild Apparel. And it's basically for anyone that loves the country lifestyle. They like mudding, going hunting, fishing, camping. They did that in Orlando. I thought Orlando, they were big on that, even though it wasn't country. But you come up to Pennsylvania and all these smaller states. I shouldn't say small. Pennsylvania's big. But basically everyone is really spread out. That's what they do here. It's a way of life. It's their lifestyle. Everyone's saying, oh yeah, run wild. And I figure, they really need something that they can wear that just expresses that a little bit better, because they don't really have anything. They love dirt bikes and quads. So, I started an apparel business that was in Florida, and that was 2 years ago. But since moving up here, I realized it's definitely a great idea. It's just a matter of getting it out there and things like that. I hope to. It's a great design that I have. So I've got some really good stickers, and you could check out that. I have a YouTube channel for that as well. You could check that out in a website, in my store that's online. That's about it. I got to start cleaning up the mess that I have here, because I got my guitars. They're all over the place. I got my stuff right there. I could say I did make some improvements. I was cleaning the kitchen. So, I started. It's not as bad as it was before. If you remember my last time I showed you, it was real bad, but it's getting better. I just got to clean the stove and take out the garbage, work on that other room, because when I go out, like I said earlier, I just want to come back to a nice clean house. I've turned into my father. He used to have a fit. 2 things he would do before he goes out of the house. One I can't figure out is he flushes all the toilets just to make sure that they're not going to leak. Well, if they're not leaking, what's the use in flushing them in the first place? Because they're already there. And then the other thing was to make sure the house was clean so you could come back to a clean house. I couldn't stand it. Now I do it. So for all you kids that hate doing stuff, sooner or later, one day, you'll be your parents. That's all. Have a great day.